Mother, your face is all red. Were you shocked to hear my husband's true feelings? You don't need a son like that anymore, do you? What? Please cut ties with me as a parent. Mom, you're not only out of money, you might end up in debt from cleaning up the factory, right? It's troublesome if you're targeted for money. And, I hate it when you're broke and in debt, yet you still ask for care. I see. I understand now. Then, I'll take everything that belongs to Dad. That's fine, right? Yeah, that's fine. Please take care of the rest. After my husband passed away, my eldest son spoke his true feelings without any reservations. Having always disliked both me and my husband, he decided I was of no use to him and demanded that we cut ties. I was almost relieved to do so. 2 years later, I found myself sitting on a bench outside the supermarket, having a simple lunch. It was there that I encountered a face I did not wish to see. Is that you, Mom? It really is. It's been a while. Are you having lunch here? And from that food truck over there? What a luxurious lunch you have. Luxurious? Don't you think a food truck bowl is a luxury item if you have no money? What kind of poor life are you leading now? Are you still working, or are you living on a pension? Can you live on just your pension? If not, can you receive welfare? Are you actually living on welfare? This is the first time I've seen someone living on welfare. How is life at the bottom of welfare? Forever scorned by my eldest son and his wife, who saw me as poor, I decided to enlighten them about my situation. I'm Kathy, 59 years old, and work at a small auto repair shop owned by my husband, Michael. Life has always been hard, but I managed and felt some happiness working with my husband. I believed Michael felt the same. However, our son, Ryan, didn't always see it that way. As a middle schooler, he became clearly rebellious. Don't come near me. You stink of oil. What are you saying to your father? He is working hard for us. Mom, don't be so mad. It's true he stinks of oil. Ryan shouted at Michael as they passed in the living room. I immediately defended my husband, which Ryan did not like. He glared at me and stomped off to his room. Michael seemed not to care, but his actions said otherwise. Teenage rebellion is inevitable, especially when we live in a not-so-clean auto repair shop and aren't wealthy. But such rebellions are usually resolved over time. The cafe nearby seems to have shut down. Really? Wasn't it just established last year? Yeah. It hasn't even been a year. Doing business is really tough. I really appreciate what my parents are doing. A cafe and an auto repair shop are different, right? Still, maintaining a business is the same. As a college student, Ryan understood the hardships of self-employment and stopped being venomous. Although Michael heard the exchanges, he pretended not to while reading the newspaper. I considered confronting him but decided against it, thinking it too mean. After graduating from college, my eldest son moved out of the house. Make sure you don't oversleep and be late for work. Don't just eat microwave food or supermarket side dishes, try to cook for yourself. Don't worry so much. I'll be fine. See you, Dad. Don't worry about it. He would only suffer by taking over such a small shop. I watched Ryan's back as he left, larger than I remembered. As he vanished, Michael and I silently confirmed our parenting was complete. After my eldest son moved out, he seldom returned home. He only came back for Christmas, and without a call from us, there wouldn't be any contact. It felt a bit lonely, but I thought that was just how boys were. I felt lucky that he still returned for Christmas and answered our calls. However, about 5 years ago, he stopped coming home altogether and even stopped answering his phone. I became very worried due to the complete lack of communication, but my husband didn't seem nearly as concerned. I wonder if he's all right. if he's managing to live well. Are you worried about Ryan again? He's fine. He would contact us if something was wrong. Michael responded without looking up from his newspaper, tired of the same conversation. Ryan was 31, an important age for work and marriage, yet no contact worried me. I reluctantly placed a cup of coffee in front of Michael with a louder thud than usual. But soon, Michael's perspective proved correct. Mom, it's been a while. I'm coming home soon. There's someone I want you to meet. Wait, what does that mean? Yeah, that's what it means. Make sure you're ready and don't embarrass us. I was thrilled by the call from Ryan after such a long silence, and even more so by the news of his marriage. Excited, I rushed to Michael. Guess what? He's getting married. Are you talking about a celebrity marriage? No. Ryan is getting married, and he's bringing his bride home. See, there was no need to worry. Michael smirked at me. Despite my annoyance, I had to admit he was right. Soon, Ryan would bring his bride home. No parent could help but feel a bit nervous. Am I okay? Do I look strange? Relax, you've changed outfits several times already. It's just a greeting, there's no need to worry so much. I can't help but worry. It's the first time meeting her, and she's going to marry Ryan, after all. Today is the day Ryan is bringing his fiancée home. I've been bustling about since the morning, but my husband is leisurely reading the newspaper and drinking coffee. I wonder what kind of person Ryan is bringing. My heart is full of hope and anxiety, but I'm more hopeful, eagerly waiting for their arrival. However, my expectations would soon be disappointed by this marriage introduction. An hour later, Ryan and his fiancée arrived at our home. We're home. I'll introduce her quickly. This is Sarah, whom I'm going to marry. Nice to meet you. I apologize for the intrusion. Nice to meet you. I'm Ryan's mother, Kathy. Come in, your father is waiting in the living room. We exchanged brief greetings at the entrance. Ryan's fiancée looked stylish and beautiful, the very image of a modern adult woman. She seemed a bit younger than Ryan. Unlike my humble days working at the auto repair shop, she radiated a sparkling aura. Then I headed to the living room where my husband was waiting. Dad, long time no see. Indeed, it feels like 100 years. You don't even call, you unfilial child. I came today to make up for those 100 years of being unfilial. Right. Both of you have a seat quickly. It had been 5 years since we last saw Ryan, but our relationship hadn't changed. As Ryan entered the living room, my husband immediately joked, looking at his face. Embarrassed by the first parent-child conversation in front of his fiancée, I glanced at her face to see her expression relaxing slightly. Relieved, I went to the kitchen to make some coffee. Sarah works at the same company as me. Oh, so you're both in office equipment sales? No, Sarah is in a different department, she's not in sales. Also, I changed jobs 3 years ago, we met at the new company. I see. You quit your previous job then? Yeah. By the way, we've moved and now live surprisingly close, about an hour away by car. While making coffee, I listened carefully to the conversation coming from the living room and checked on the three of them. The conversation mainly involved my husband and Ryan, while his fiancée seemed to be looking around the room, perhaps feeling a bit out of place. I decided to offer her a lifeline. Did you notice something that caught your eye? I placed the coffee on the table and addressed Ryan's fiancée. My question paused the conversation between my husband and Ryan, hopefully starting a discussion among all four of us. However, still a bit nervous, Ryan's fiancée misspoke. No, nothing in particular. I just heard from Ryan that you run a factory. Expected a fancier house? Sorry for disappointing you. We're not the wealthy type of business owners, but the poorer kind. Watch your words, it's embarrassing. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. Don't worry, no need to rush. It's all good. My husband and I couldn't help but laugh at the words of Ryan's fiancée. Ryan, embarrassed, looked down. Neither of us was angry. In fact, her slip made the conversation easier. Seeing us laugh, Ryan's fiancée realized we were easygoing and gradually began to speak more openly. This smoothed the conversation, and we managed to bond successfully. Initially, I was intimidated by her stylish and beautiful appearance, but she turned out to be quite friendly. It seemed like we could get along well in the future. 3 months after the marriage introduction, Ryan got married successfully. They didn't live with us, so my life didn't change much, but there were small differences. I found some tasty-looking sweets online and ordered some. I arranged for them to be delivered to you as well, so please try them. You bought them again? I told you it's okay. I want someone to share opinions with. My husband just eats without saying anything. I can imagine that. He's kind of unemotional, isn't he? It seems so. He only used to come home for Christmas, right? From now on, we thought we'd visit during Easter and Christmas, if that's okay with you? Of course, I'm looking forward to it. Once Ryan got married, his wife began contacting us regularly instead of him. She even showed thoughtfulness by occasionally sending us things. This is perhaps the difference between men and women. Several months passed, and during their first Easter visit as a married couple, Ryan's wife mentioned they would come to our house. I put extra effort into preparing lunch, but this lunch inadvertently caused a small incident. Sarah, did the meal not suit your taste? No, that's not it. I'll eat now. Ryan's wife smiled as she ate the lunch I prepared, but I could sense her smile was forced. Concerned by her reaction, I kept glancing at her expression. In contrast, my husband and Ryan were having a lively conversation while eating. Eventually, Ryan's wife didn't finish her meal, leaving some behind. After lunch, as I was cleaning up the dishes alone, Ryan approached me quietly. Mom, what were you thinking? It's Sarah's first Easter visit, and you serve a bowl dish for lunch. Isn't that too rough? Oh. Really? I just wanted the younger generation to try it. I get that you're good at making bowl dishes, but you need to choose the right time and occasion. If you don't make something more elaborate or order takeout, it might seem like you're slacking. Sarah was worried you might dislike her. I didn't mean that. But yes, you're right. Sorry. I didn't intend to skimp on lunch, so there was no real need to apologize. However, even if it was a misunderstanding, I felt bad for making Ryan and his wife uncomfortable and found myself apologizing. After the bowl incident, the contacts from Ryan's wife, which used to occur every 2 or 3 months, ceased. They visited again the following Christmas, but after that, they stopped coming for Easter. I regret serving a bowl dish during their first visit. Seeing my regret, my husband kindly spoke to me. Wasn't that bowl dish one of your proud creations? It's been praised by many, so you should be more confident. The lack of contact from Sarah isn't related to the dish. They are both in their 30s and busy with work. It's probably just that they are busy. They'll contact us again eventually. Remember, it was the same when Ryan got married, right? Michael's words are all true. I felt a bit more confident because of what he said. Whenever I get panicked or anxious, he always has something to say. His words might seem careless, like I shouldn't worry or that I'm overthinking things. However, his words make me feel better. There have been times when I was annoyed by his nonchalant attitude, but looking back, his words have often been a great comfort to me. After 30 years of marriage, I've just come to realize this. Surely, I'll continue to rely on him. However, I thought this just as Michael fell ill, creating a situation where I couldn't rely on him as much. I'm sorry. it looks like I won't be able to work anymore. This is my retirement. Michael seemed pleased to be able to retire while lying in the hospital bed. However, knowing that he had recently enjoyed his work, he must feel regretful about retiring just as he started to enjoy his job. I can't tinker with cars, but I'll continue with the work I can do. That way, if your health improves and you want to come back to work, you can, right? I'm 64 years old. If I've fallen ill, there's no coming back, right? You're only 64. There are people working past 70, so it's fine. Besides, I want to keep working because I want to. Do what you want. For now, I'm retired. All right, all right. Michael responded with a firm tone, but his expression wasn't entirely serious. His words and demeanor at 60 made my motivation for work double. Despite our wishes, Michael's condition worsened. Naturally, he couldn't return to work, and a year passed in no time. There was another problem, besides his illness. We had informed Ryan about his father's illness, but throughout the year, we neither saw Ryan and his wife nor heard from them. When I told Ryan over the phone that his father had fallen ill, he said, "Dad's sick? Got it. I'll come by sometime." What does sometime mean for Ryan? 2 more years passed, and 3 years after Michael fell ill, he passed away without Ryan and Sarah ever showing their faces. He was only 67. A bit early, huh? Well, he struggled a lot when he was younger, probably shortened his lifespan. So, when should I come back? When I informed Ryan over the phone that Michael had passed away, he showed no sadness. Instead, he made incredible remarks that mocked the hard work Michael had done for the family and indicated he had no intention of helping with the funeral. I was angered by Ryan's cold response, but I didn't have the time or the emotional space to argue. After hanging up, I took a deep breath and busied myself with the necessary arrangements and cleanup to distract from my feelings. In the end, Ryan did not help with any funeral preparations, and by the time the funeral was over, he had disappeared. Calls to him went unanswered. Perhaps it's time to reconsider our relationship with Ryan and his wife. A little over a month after Michael's funeral, I had calmed down somewhat, but still no word from Ryan. Why had the attitude of Ryan and his wife, who initially had a good relationship with us, changed so drastically? As I wondered this and prayed at the family altar, I heard a familiar voice at the door. "Mom. Are you there?" It seems Ryan and his wife had come. As I headed to greet them at the entrance, I heard them barge into the house and head straight for the living room. I redirected myself from the entrance to the living room. Ah, there you are. As I entered the living room, Ryan and his wife were sprawled out in the exact spot where Michael used to sit. I tried to keep my breathing calm as I listened to them. "What are you here for? It's about time we discussed the inheritance, right? Of course, we came to say we don't need anything." What? I was surprised by Ryan's words, thinking they were after Michael's estate. Amused by my reaction, Ryan and his wife continued to smirk and talk. "I know. Dad's factory was built on leased land, and when it's returned, it will cost several tens of thousands to demolish, right? A month has passed since Dad died and the factory is still untouched, which means there's no money because he was a poor businessman, right? The house is an old wreck built over 30 years ago and hardly worth anything. So, taking something that won't make any money is just a hassle, and we'll leave all the rest to you, Mom." A hassle, for that reason. Isn't that reason enough? I looked it up, and cleaning up the factory costs quite a bit, doesn't it? Mother, are you okay with money? What are you talking about? That's why we're saying to take care of everything troublesome. See, this is why I told you there's no need to keep Mom and Dad happy. Really disappointing. I had a slight hope, because you said you were running a factory. Well, the world isn't so sweet, is it? Wait. Can you explain clearly what you're saying? As Ryan and his wife rapidly continued with their incomprehensible conversation, I got irritated and raised my voice. However, they were not fazed by my shouting and began to answer my questions honestly. When we got married, we got along with you in case the factory business went well so we could get some money. Ryan had been estranged from you, so if we wanted money, we had to be on good terms, right? I said it was pointless, though. I thought there might be a chance, but it seemed there wasn't any hope right away, so we stopped bothering. We even ate that poor-smelling bowl dish and made annoying phone calls, all for nothing. You don't know how hard it is to run a factory, so thinking there's a chance isn't strange. It was really the worst. Dad reeked of oil and never took us on a trip because he made so little money. But that was because he was cutting living expenses to send Ryan to college, right? Yeah, I got to college, but that doesn't change my hate for Dad, Mom, and this house. I just played the good son because I didn't want him to get mad and not pay for college. I can't believe I endured 4 years. Well, consider it a thank you for paying the tuition and letting you experience a good parent-child relationship. My anger grew as Ryan and his wife's true feelings came to light. Had we been happy for nothing about their marriage? Does Ryan not appreciate Michael's hard work at all? My breathing became rougher as my anger became uncontrollable. Mother, your face is all red. Were you shocked to hear my husband's true feelings? You don't need a son like that anymore, do you? What? Please cut ties with me as a parent. Mom, you're not only out of money, you might end up in debt from cleaning up the factory, right? It's troublesome if you're targeted for money. And, I hate it when you're broke and in debt, yet you still ask for care. I see. I understand now. I made a list of the things Dad left behind, but do you want to check it? I don't need it, I don't need it. There's nothing of value there anyway. Then, I'll take everything that Dad left behind. That's fine, right? Yeah, that's fine. Then, please take care of everything else. Just before my anger exploded, Ryan and his wife left. When the source of my anger disappeared from my sight, I couldn't help but laugh unexpectedly. Surely, they will regret not taking anything. 2 years after my husband passed away, I turned 65. Today, I was wandering around outside to meet someone I knew from work. It's quite tough moving around at this age. I decided to take a break and sat on a bench outside the supermarket to have a simple lunch. The supermarket was bustling with various people, including families with children. I thought of someone's face from when they were that small and cute. Was it wrong to think that? I ended up encountering someone I didn't want to see. Hey, isn't that you, Mom? It really is. Long time no see. Are you having lunch here? And from that food truck over there? That's quite a luxurious meal. Luxurious? You demolished the factory, right? I passed by the other day and it was gone. You must have spent the non-existent money on demolishing it, right? You have no money and yet, a food truck bowl is a luxury item, isn't it? What do you usually eat? Beans? Bread? 2 years have passed and it seems Ryan and his wife haven't changed at all. However, I have nothing to say to Ryan and his wife anymore. Ignoring their irritating words, I walked to the food truck where I bought the bowl to dispose of the empty container. Still not satisfied with teasing me, Ryan and his wife followed me, continuing to talk as I ignored them. Hey, don't ignore us. What kind of poor life are you leading now? Are you still working, or are you living on a pension? Can you live on just your pension? If you can't live on a pension, you can receive welfare, right? Are you living on welfare? I've never seen someone living on welfare. How is life at the bottom of welfare? Exasperated, I let out a sigh. If I keep ignoring them, they seem likely to follow me forever, so I decided to enlighten Ryan and his wife with a fact I didn't necessarily need to share. It was delicious. Keep it up. Look, a poor person telling the food truck guy to keep it up, acting all high and mighty. You should be the one to keep it up. Who do you think you're talking to? Obviously you. The welfare-reliant mother. Welfare? Who's on welfare? What, you're not on welfare? Then, are you still working? What kind of job are you doing? I walked away from the food truck and led Ryan and his wife to a quieter part of the parking lot where we could speak more freely if voices were raised. The food truck where you bought that bowl is my shop. What do you mean? You're the owner of that store? Should I call myself the owner? A single food truck won't make much income, right? It's not just that store. I've managed about 300 stores so far. 300 stores? If you're going to lie, at least make it a believable lie. Right. No way that's believable. Well, look at this then. I took out my smartphone and showed Ryan and his wife a website. Mobile vending. Food truck franchise recruitment. Next, look here. See, my name is written, right? I then navigated from the home page to the company profile page and showed them the name of the representative. Could it be 300 stores is true? Yes, it's true. You had complaints about my bowl dish, right? That was one of the prototypes when I started the food truck. What? You were already starting the food truck back then? Why didn't you tell us? Starting a food truck near 60, it was too trendy to mention, and embarrassing if I failed, right? So, I planned to tell you once it was making a bit of income. But since we hardly communicated and you spoke poorly of Dad, I lost the desire to tell you. 300 franchise contracts mean substantial royalties. Yes. It's less than when Dad was alive, but it might still be more than both of your salaries. Dad? What does he have to do with it? The food trucks rely on what Dad built according to the franchise owner's requests. As the number of contracts increased, Dad's work increased too. Since Dad passed away, I've been relying on a car shop acquaintance, so the income has dropped somewhat. 300 stores, that's a lot of money. Ryan's wife seemed to be calculating the large number in her head. However, the number 300 was a bit of an exaggeration to make things look good. The 300 stores were the total number contracted so far. Some contracts had been terminated, so the current number was less than 100, but I hadn't lied since I originally said I managed 300 stores, not that I currently have 300 contracts. They misunderstood it as currently having 300 contracts. I could correct the misunderstanding, but I felt better letting it stand. So, you've really grown to 300 stores, huh? I never imagined the business would grow this large at the beginning. In fact, I stopped running my own food truck after about a year. Using the connections I made as a business owner, I was able to secure various locations for vending and participate in events, which went quite well. But operating a food truck really requires physical stamina, and starting at 60 was tough. You quit the food truck, then why franchise? When I was quitting, a regular young girl said she wanted to take over. That sparked the idea of franchising. By the way, that girl was the one in front of the supermarket entrance. She's a hard worker. As her reputation grew, young people came to me wanting to do the same. I wanted to support these young people, so I allowed them to choose their shop names and lowered the royalties, which helped it spread even more. Then I made it possible to recruit nationwide on the website, and it ended up expanding to 300 stores. I see. If it's that big, then demolishing the factory should be easy. Why didn't you demolish it for a month? I just put it off because I was too busy with work. Now that Ryan and his wife understood that I had managed franchises for 300 stores over 5 years, they clearly began to choose their words more carefully. From here, I could guess what Ryan and his wife might say next. So, when Dad's inheritance was settled, you were already 3 years into the food truck business, right? You must have been making some money by then, right? So we should get something, shouldn't we? I made it clear that I would take everything, remember? I even prepared the inheritance documents, but you didn't check them, did you? Why should I have to give you money now? Ryan was silenced by my argument. If he had glanced at the inheritance documents I prepared even for a second, none of this would have happened, so his frustration was understandable. However, at this point, his wife realized something and, forgetting I was in front of her, spoke to Ryan. Wait a minute. Kathy is in her mid-60s. Even if we've cut ties, eventually, the money she makes will end up going to Ryan, won't it? That's true. When you think about it, the more she works, the more I stand to gain. Maybe if we take over the company, we could get all the royalties. The two of them were excited, thinking that my earnings would eventually flow to them. It's unfortunate for them to be happy about such thoughts, as I have no intention of letting that happen. Sorry, but I don't plan to leave anything for you. What? I'm getting older, and work is becoming difficult. I'm not taking on new contracts anymore, just supporting the current ones. So, the number of contracts will only decrease, not increase. But the ones that are doing well will continue to operate, right? I'm planning to eventually dismantle the franchise headquarters and have everyone operate independently. Why? It's normal to pass the management to your child, like me, rather than to strangers. Well, many of our contract partners are young people. When I see their efforts, they feel like my own sons and daughters. I'd rather do something for these new children, who I've seen more often than you, who hasn't shown your face since your father fell ill. Upon hearing that I intended to dismantle the franchise headquarters, Ryan collapsed to his knees. His wife tried to console him wrongly. It's okay. The money your mother made will still come to us. How much can a person underestimate others? I certainly don't want to leave anything to such people. Unfortunately, I plan to spend all the money. What? I'm thinking of moving to a high-rise condo for the elderly. It has a full-time care staff, and they provide 24/7 support. It's expensive, but I have my savings and the royalties that come in every month. Plus, I want to travel while I can still walk, and I plan to buy whatever I want without holding back. Looks like my retirement is going to be busy. My declaration of spending caused Ryan's wife to collapse too. How I spend my money is none of Ryan and his wife's business since we've already cut ties. After living as a poor business owner, I want to enjoy some luxury in my old age. Above all, I've decided to spend all the money I've earned. No one can stop my extravagant retirement life now. Well, I just came to see honest, hardworking kids at work, so I'm heading back now. I left Ryan and his wife, who were squatting on the ground unable to move, and walked away from the supermarket without entering the store. Hearing about my success with food trucks, Ryan and his wife must have thought running a food business was easy. They quit their jobs, used their savings, and opened a cafe with additional borrowed money. Naturally, the food and beverage industry isn't that sweet. In my case, it only grew because young franchisees were dedicated. While I initially helped with locations and events, I learned more from the franchisees as time went on. Though Ryan's cafe initially attracted customers, it didn't last. A shop without quality will not keep customers, and within a year, it closed. Hadn't he seen cafes close within a year when he was in college? Had he learned nothing from that? After closing the cafe, the couple had used up their savings and, with no revenue, ended up in debt due to loans and the cost of dismantling the shop interior. Now that they had first-hand experience of how tough it is to earn a daily living through their own business, they shouldn't be able to mock my husband's work anymore. As planned, I moved to the high-rise condo and began reducing my workload. Today, I'm going to check out an event where a child from a nearby area who is working hard has set up a booth.